It's just to go all in on what you love.
The purest gift you can give to the world is to give your talent, give your passion to the world.
And way down there is what you really want to do.
Passion is a universal language.
I'm so stoked right now! Yes! What's up, guys? It's Cash. Welcome to episode 2 of our new podcast series called All In, broadcasting live from the Be Somebody headquarters here in Austin, Texas. Thanks for all your support on our first episode. It's been great to read all your comments, get all your feedback, and just get this conversation going about whatever it is you're passionate about. On this episode, we're going to talk about the one question that we continue to get over and over, that people ask me all over the world every time I'm at an event, anytime our team's at an experience, which is, where the hell did this all come from? Where did this start? Where did Be Somebody begin? Forget the platform and the app and the company, but where did this whole thing start? And I would say the biggest thing about Be Somebody is that it started so small. Because I started sharing the Be Somebody hashtag back in 2009. I was working at Procter & Gamble, the largest consumer products company in the world. I worked there straight out of school. I was in my 7th year. Great company. I was learning a lot, but I felt like something was missing. I just turned 30. I was just getting out of a breakup. This girl that we always say is the secret hidden co-founder of Be Somebody. She kind of helped inspire some of it, though we're not giving her any stock options or any equity in the company. But, I was trying to get back in the gym. I was trying to figure out what my purpose was in life and find what my passions were and start focusing my life on that. And, I always say, as soon as you start to focus your mind and your heart and your soul and your spirit on your passions, the universe starts to open up doors and unlock windows you never thought possible. And as soon as I did that, I got this awesome opportunity at Procter & Gamble where my managers and my team, they created a role for me to lead social marketing and communications for developing countries. And I had this opportunity to lead this for some of our biggest brands in some of the most amazing countries in the world. At that time, developing markets at Procter & Gamble was all of South America, Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Eastern Europe. So from 2009 to 2011, I was on the road about 80% of the time, traveling for 2 years internationally, meeting all these amazing people, understanding all these and learning all these different cultures. And I would say the crazy thing about travel is that you go so far and you see so much, but you learn the most about yourself. There's something about world exploration that leads to self-discovery. And I started to find myself in these people that I was meeting and these experiences that I was having and these cultures that I was getting immersed into. I started to see that we're all a lot more similar than we are different. I had the opportunity to go to some of the most beautiful places in the world. I spent time in the most beautiful, fanciest hotels in Dubai, and I spent just as much time in some of the poorest neighborhoods in the world. I spent so much of my time in the barangays of Manila, and the favelas in Brazil, and I started to realize there's no correlation between money and happiness. I started realizing life is about meaning, not money. And I started just to be inspired by all these people that I was meeting, and I kind of tried to pour all that into my kind of core passion, which is writing, and I started to write about it. And I'd write these stories. Some of them I wouldn't share. Some of them I would write only to myself in my own journal. The other ones I started to kind of share on social media. And, this was back in 2009, 2010 when Twitter was starting to grow and hashtags were starting to pop off. And I ended up sharing things on social media on Twitter, and I would always drop the Be Somebody hashtag because that was just this term that me and my boys used to use to kind of push ourselves to go after things or stop making excuses and to just be somebody, And I started doing that. I started getting a little bit of a following on social media, and I started getting all these messages from people around the world saying, hey, man, you should create a travel blog or a global marketing blog. And with all the cool things you're doing, all the cool people you're meeting. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create the Be Somebody blog. And it's just going to be about these real, raw experiences and emotions and feelings that I'm having and that people all around the world are having. and the stories that we're all creating together. So back in January of 2011, my brother and I, who's sitting back there, we created the Be Somebody blog just for that one purpose, to share stories, share feelings, share emotions, try to make people feel something, try to be a spark of inspiration to people around the world. Actually, the first thing that we did when we moved into this office, remember that, Wells? We painted an excerpt of the first post called the Be Somebody Lifestyle on the side of the wall, because I wanted us all to remember how small this thing was and our humble beginnings of where this started. And I wanted to remember, and I get goosebumps every time I think about it, I wanted to walk into the office every day, look to the right and be like, man, that's where this thing began. And every day we walk into this place and say, man, welcome to the dream. We're so grateful, so thankful for the opportunity to chase this dream, But the blog started to do really well. It started to grow kind of organically, through the stories, through the writing, and soon we started to grow this community of people all over the world. And I always believe that there's power in words, but there's something about this term of be somebody that just connects with people literally all over the planet. I would see it when I would go to these countries. I'd be in different airports and people could hardly speak English or not really understand our culture, but they would understand be somebody. And they would like it and they would ask about it and we would talk about it, and I was like, man, there's something powerful here. I don't know what the hell it is, but I know it's making people feel something. It's igniting something in people. And right as the community really started to grow, I got this awesome opportunity towards the end of 2011 to leave Procter & Gamble and go lead social marketing for a company called GoPro, which all you guys know by now, one of the most amazing companies in the world. And when I went to GoPro, it was the early days, and I was blessed to meet a lot of the early founders and creators of that amazing company. And when I went there, it was a 2-story white cottage on the edge of the Pacific Ocean in Half Moon Bay. Very different from the big corporate towers of Procter & Gamble. But I learned so many great things at both companies. At P&G, I learned about business fundamentals and marketing 101 and how to build a brand and scale it across the world. I worked on these huge brands. I learned about social cause and charitable giving. So I worked on that for so long in my career there. But at GoPro, I learned about how to build a brand from the bottom up. I learned it from people that had literally built the furniture in a company, the people that drove the Penske trucks from, or the U-Haul trucks from one trade show to the other, from Justin Wilkenfeld and Neil Dana and Lee Topard, these amazing guys. And of course, Nick Woodman, the founder of GoPro. Man, I was so inspired by what these guys built with their bare hands from the bottom, grassroots. And I always tell our team what I learned there is bro deals instead of pro deals, because that brand and that company was built on high fives and built from surf shop to skate shop to mountaintop, and it was much more than this camera. It was this amazing content, and it was this community that was so inspired and so full of passion, and we were able to help bring GoPro and make GoPro the fastest growing camera company in the world. The company, exploded in growth. It's doing amazing now, but I started to get, when I was there and as things were happening and I was meeting all these people, I started to get this vision of building a brand and a platform in a way no one has built it before. Because Be Somebody, this side thing of mine, continued to be growing as I was learning and experiencing so much and being so blessed in this opportunity at GoPro. I started to get this vision of building a brand that instead of starting with the product and selling something, I wanted to start with passion. And I wanted to start with content and community and grassroots experiences and enable people to feel something. And I wanted to share and stoke and spark whatever it is people were feeling inside, whatever this word ignited in them, and I didn't want to worry about the product or the sell. And I wanted to basically flip the whole model and build a platform and a brand, reverse engineer it, and let people around the world decide what this term Be Somebody meant to them. So back in March of 2013, I became the first person in GoPro history to resign from that amazing company. I took everything I learned at Procter & Gamble and GoPro. I ended up cashing out my 401k, leaving a lot of my stock on the table, 75% of the stock on the table, because I believe money is a symptom, not a purpose. I moved back home to Texas. I was going to live here in Austin. At the beginning, I ended up living in Pflugerville because it was a little bit cheaper. The rent was a little bit cheaper up there. I got a little small studio, sold all my furniture, sold all the things that I used to think were so important. I used to be the only guy at Procter & Gamble that wore a suit every single day to the office. I stacked up 32 suits that looked really cool in my closet, but they weren't really making me feel good inside. I always say that I wasn't happy, I was heavy with all these material things that I thought were supposed to fuel me, what the world was telling me it was supposed to make me happy. It was just making me heavy. And I wanted to live light, and I wanted to find that light and that spark. And I always still get goosebumps when I think about it because I wanted to find a bigger purpose. So in March of 2013, I left GoPro. I moved to Austin, cashed out my 401k, spent a year and a half going around the world with people and supporters of the community to build the movement. And I wanted the movement to then build our brand for us and help architect our platform for us with the fingerprints of literally hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. Today, Be Somebody now, full circle, is the fastest growing motivational movement in the world. We reach over 5 million people in nearly 180 countries every month with our content. Every day, the Be Somebody hashtag is dropped 1,000 times across the world, where people proclaiming to commit to their passions across the world. During that year and a half, we traveled 75,000 miles. We did art exhibitions and street art festivals. We did music competitions. We did fitness activities and experiences on beaches and fitness centers across the world. We spoke at schools. We did a college tour where we went to 25 schools in 50 days in an old beat-up RV with me and a couple of the guys back here, and just did it all for free. Spent our own time, spent our own money to go speak to people, to try to help inspire people to do what they love and follow their passion. Today I've spoken at nearly 200 schools across the world, from right here in Austin all the way to Africa, Sharati, Tanzania. We spoke at the first school that they ever built in Sharati, Tanzania. And we learned so much along the way. The brand was built for us. The Be Somebody brand is truly a brand of the people, because it's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you need it to be. And that's powerful. That's powerful. And when I left GoPro, I knew we were going to build a platform, a mobile platform, because I knew that there was a way we needed to bring all this together to enable people to live a life centered on their passions. But I promise you, I did not know what the hell it was and how the hell to build it. But along the way, learning and talking to people, I started to understand it, And a couple ways we learned. So one of the first things we did, we went on this global graffiti campaign. We did 15 cities in 11 countries in 4.5 weeks, where we literally painted these inspirational Be Somebody murals. There's some pictures on top of my window here, where we painted these beautiful, Be Somebody murals across the world with one of the most amazing street artists in the world, Danny Gamble, my buddy Josh Hauser from Cincinnati, hooked it up and set it all together. We went around the world. We painted, on beaches in Casablanca, rooftops in Hong Kong, villages in Africa, this little village in Sharati, Tanzania. And Sharati was probably the most amazing part of the journey, because we had to squeeze it in between, painting in Barcelona and painting in Dubai. And we had 48 hours on this last minute addition to our trip in Sharati, where we had this opportunity to paint this first school, and I had the opportunity to go speak at this school, and I was like, I don't want to miss this chance. So we ended up flying in. We had to fly into Nairobi, which was the closest airport to Sharati. It was a 12-hour drive from Nairobi to Sharati, Tanzania, Nairobi, Kenya to Sharati, Tanzania. Should have been probably like a 3 or 4 hour drive, but we were going through African roads and wilderness and villages. It took us a lot longer. We were in a little white van traveling, west across the countryside. And we got there. We had about 24 hours to meet some of the people. There was only one family that spoke English in the village. It was the host family. And we had 24 hours to paint this beautiful wall of this school. And, we got there, we pretty much met everybody, and we just started painting from the beginning. We had to paint through the night in order to get it done so we could get back on the road, to get to Nairobi and move to the next stop on this global graffiti campaign, and we got there. We talked to all the villagers. They were so excited for us to get there. But for that first hour, after that first hour or two, a lot of the people left. And as we were painting, there was one little boy that stayed behind. And he was part of the host family, and he spoke English. And, I asked him what his name was. He told me it was Michael Jackson. He told me it was Michael Jackson. I was like, all right. So we started painting, and this little boy, he grabbed a wooden chair from inside the school, and he sat it right behind us. And as we were painting, he sat there literally the whole time, and throughout the night, throughout all the time that we were painting, this little boy did not move. And I would turn back to him and be like, dude, Michael, you need to go home. You need to go eat some dinner. Where's your mom? And he'd be like, no, I want to stay. I want to watch. So we ended up finishing this wall. It's a beautiful piece. Danny did an amazing job. The villagers were so happy. The principals and the teachers of the school were so happy. We took these amazing pictures. We were saying our goodbyes. And as we were leaving, I looked at Michael Jackson, and I saw his eyes starting to water up. I saw tears in his eyes, and I was like, Michael, man, it was great to meet you. And I could tell he was sad that we were leaving. So I found a Be Somebody hat in my backpack. I put it on his head, and I was like, man, don't worry, Michael. Hopefully we can stay connected. And I was like, but let me ask you something, Michael. I just got to know, why did you stay here the whole time when we were painting? What made you want to sit here in this chair and watch the whole time while everyone else left, while your whole family left, while the rest of your friends and the villagers left? What made you stay here and watch? And he just said, I love paint. I just love to paint. And I was thinking well, man, dude, you should be painting all the time, man. This is the middle of Africa. I was looking around. There's not much going on right here. I was like, if you love to paint, that's all you should do. And, he looked at me, and what he said literally changed the whole direction, perception, understanding that I had of what we were going to build. It was so simple, but so powerful. Like everything else I've been learning would Be Somebody. He said two things. He said, I don't know where, and I don't know how. And I realized at that moment, from talking to this little 8-year-old boy in the middle of, Africa, in Sharati, Tanzania, that the world isn't organized by passion, right? Whether it's educational curriculums, whether it's your 9-to-5 jobs that usually suck the passion out of you, or whether it's the technology, the algorithms that power the world, are not organized by passion. There's no single platform that connects people based on shared passion. Whether you're Michael Jackson, this 8-year-old boy in Africa, or an 8-year-old boy or an 80-year-old man here in Austin, Texas, there's nowhere now that you can type in anything that you're passionate about and instantly find people, find content, and find experiences around you to help you unleash it, or help you learn it, help you teach it, And at that moment, that summer, on this first graffiti tour, this global graffiti campaign that was about art, I learned from this little boy in Africa what the whole basis of our platform will be. And now our platform that we built, it's a mobile platform. It's a free download in the App Store. It's going to be out on Android this summer. Is the world's first platform, first social marketplace that connects people based on shared passion. And that laid the foundation. There's a couple other things that I learned along the way that we'll talk about in other podcasts, but two quick things that I wanted to share with you guys is we spoke to a lot of people when we were going around, when we went to these schools and when we went to the workplaces and talked to people about passion. We would talk to adults, right? I would talk to adults, and I'd always be like, what do you do? And they tell me one thing, and I'd be like, but what do you love? And they would tell me something totally different. And I'd always be like, well, why the hell aren't you doing that, man? You should be doing that, bro. And 9 times out of 10, they would tell me, but I can't make money off of it. I can't make money doing that. And we'd always sit here in this uncomfortable silence because I knew that they were right. And I knew that it didn't feel right, though, because they were talented and they had this passion for it, right? And then I would talk to, at all these schools, I would talk to all these kids. I would go into these schools, and we still did it, and we did it this morning here in Austin. At Barbara Jordan Elementary School, we talk at elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, colleges. They would invite us to come speak. I would talk for about 20 minutes about passion, which I would say is the boring part, right? The cool part was the last 40 minutes of these hour-long assemblies when I would ask the students to come up to the stage. And I'd say, I want 4 or 5 people to come up here and share your passion with me and the rest of the school and tell us what you're willing to sacrifice to make it happen, you know? And the same thing would happen every single time at all these schools that we would be speaking to around the world, right? The hands that went up weren't the hands that you expected. It wasn't the captain of the football team. It wasn't the head cheerleader. It wasn't the most popular dude in school, right? It was these kids that when they're walking up to the stage, you're kind of wondering, like, I don't even know if this person has spoken in front of anyone before, let alone, on a stage with a microphone in front of their whole peers, overcoming their fears with a camera in their face, right? And these kids, when they spoke, they would just unleash this emotional storm of bullying, of fear, of regret, of suffering, of people make fun of me, or no one believes in me, of, everyone says I can't do it. People say that I'm crazy, but this is what I really want to do. This is what I want to focus my life on. Or they'd say, my mom is the only one who believes in me, and she's the reason I keep going, right? And they didn't just get up there and say their passion and throw out a couple words. They unleashed, and it felt so powerful. And I remember being in these seats in these auditoriums and these cafeterias and these gymnasium floors thinking, man, this is so powerful. How can we help these kids? And 9 times out of 10, though, and this is where it starts to get interesting, right? This is when we start to have real conversations, because 9 times out of 10, what they were talking about, whether they were in 5th grade or 12th grade or college, was not what they were focusing on in school. It wasn't what they were learning in school. It wasn't what they were being forced to fit into in the traditional system, right? So they were frustrated. They were frustrated, and they were searching for answers and for help, and they didn't know where to go with it. They were being pushed into boxes and beaten into submission by a system that wasn't feeding their passions, And what we started to realize is that it isn't rocket science, but it is revolutionary. If we could create a single platform that could connect people based on shared passions, these people that are frustrated, these adults like me and others that were frustrated in their current jobs and their current lives because they weren't doing what they loved, because they didn't think they could make money off of it, or they didn't think they had an opportunity to showcase it, unleash it, with these young people and these kids and anyone else that wants to learn, right? If we could connect people based on these shared passions, we'd be building something that doesn't exist, right? And that became the whole inspiration for our platform, starting with Michael Jackson in Africa, continuing with all these people, everyday people we met around the world, Aaron Mello, Kevin Lamb, Kevin Stimpson, all these people I remember talking to about what they love and what they do, to, all the members of our team who came on kind of pro bono to help build this, from Sacramento to North Dakota to Oklahoma to Texas, to these kids in schools that taught us that passion is so powerful. We need to create a path for it for people, starting at a young age and going and growing through all of our whole life. And next week I want to talk to you about, I know revolution is thrown around a lot. The word revolutionary is another overused word. I want to talk to you guys about the 3 revolutions that are necessary, right? That are necessary for this platform and this model, which we call the passion economy, to exist, right? There's 3 revolutions that need to happen. And that means we need to be ready for a big fight, because revolutions mean you're going to get your hands dirty and you're going to take some punches. But we believe we can create this and enable these kids, enable you, enable people to center their lives on their passions if we can work together and build and overcome and create these 3 revolutions that we'll talk about next week. But so hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of a background. I've kind of keep going. I'm just sitting here with my boy David Wells, our production director. I always start kind of like flowing and getting into too long, right? Probably talking about this story because I always take that trip down memory lane about where it started. But remember, this thing started small. It started with a breakup. It started with a girl that didn't want to talk to me, So it's amazing how far we've come, what we're building together. Thanks to all you guys. Thanks to passionate people around the world. Most people may think that people that are going all in on their passion with a crazy focused, streamlined insanity, laser lens are too crazy. But I would say we're crazy, but we're not stupid, So thank you guys for listening to episode 2 of All In. Remember, you can always message me on the Be Somebody app with any ideas, insights, questions, comments, anything you want me to talk about on the podcast. Find me on the Be Somebody app. Shoot me a message. Please like and share with your friends so we can get more people talking about their passions. Thank you guys. We're building this together. Be somebody. All right, guys, I want to introduce you to the newest member of the Be Somebody team real quick. She's the hottest by far that we've ever had. Sexy. It's her right here. Her name is Love. I just got her. Her name is Love. She's an American bully I got from Be Somebody ambassador Blandon Schaefer out of Houston, Texas, and Lil Man Bullies. Love, she was sleeping. Give me a kiss. Oh, yeah. It's my little boo right here. So, look out for her to make some special appearances on the podcast. She's getting bigger, right, Wells? Yeah. She was even smaller. She's 9 weeks right now. So, anyway, say bye, Love. Oh, man. He thinks that we want to make him look like he's cool in the shop, but we just don't want.
I know he's holding fucking Nixon signs up now in the background.
All right.